Presentation and then 40 Q&A, or I have different breakdown?
Same as review board, right? 45 minutes.
Same as review board.
Which is why I forgot it. Is it 45?
45 minutes.
40.
45 minutes. Yeah.
So what we can do is 45-minute presentation, Charlie 10-minute break, and then 45-minute Q&A.
Okay, thank you. We will do precisely that. Thanks. We are ready. I'm going to start.
We are ready.
Okay, thank you. I'm starting. Thanks for this opportunity to present to you a Salesforce solution for United Security Exchange. This is the first global security exchange that runs 24 by 7. And they serve 3 groups of customers: individual traders, brokers, and listed companies. And they have resellers as their partners. And they operate in 15 countries and have 6 hubs. And they wanted to scale their operation and automate their process. They identified processes for us to move to Salesforce. And for org strategy, I compared single org versus multi-org. My recommendation is single org. There are multiple reasons. First, all people share the same objective, and they do align a unified business process for the processes we need to migrate into Salesforce. While they have regional teams that allows multiple org, we do not have to go to multiple org. As for regional specific processes, we can use record types and different page layouts to accommodate variations. And then local laws and regulations, it does not reflect in the business processes identified for us to migrate to Salesforce. And also, if we look at the number of users and the data volume, there's no reason there to go to multi-org. So therefore, my recommendation is single org. And then because we serve multi nations, we're going to enable multi-line. For that, we're going to use custom labels whenever we want to use text, and we're going to use translation workbench to translate labels, names, custom labels. And we're going to use Visual Force email templates. And we also need to translate knowledge articles, which knowledge has its own tool. And on the community, we need to set up a multi-line and put the language picker there for guest users. And we will support multi-currency. Let's look at the licenses we would need. The executives, they get access to sales and support data. I recommend Sales Cloud for them. And they also need Tableau CRM. The sales managers, they work on opportunities and use Sales Cloud forecast, so they get Sales Cloud. The operation people, they do not have special need from Sales Cloud or Service Cloud, so they get platform license. The support supervisors and the customer support agents, they support omni-channel routing, chat, so both of them get Service Cloud license. The supervisors will use Omni Supervisor feature. The BDM people are sales people. They work on opportunities, so they get Sales Cloud. The resellers work on opportunities, and so I recommend the partner community license for them. As for the listed entities, their dedicated admin will be their admin user will be CC Plus user. Other users like secretary will be CC users. And the brokers, same situation. Dedicated admin, I assume only the dedicated admin need to access service contract. So with that, we give them CC Plus license. The other people will be using CC customer community license. The individual traders all get CC license. And let's take a brief at the role hierarchy from executives to sales manager to the BDM people and the external reseller users, account users roll up to BDM role. And then broker users, they have the CC users roll up to the BDM role. And then we have operation under them. The listed entities are managed by them. So the roll up to them. And we have support supervisors. and support agent. With that, let's look at our system landscape. First, we have 4 groups of community users. We're going to look at their different needs on another slides. But when they come to Salesforce, we have 4 different experience sites for them. And on these sites, they can register, they can log in, they can also link their social accounts so that they can do social login using LinkedIn or Gmail account. To support that, is the OIDC protocol. As for the internal users, they log into Salesforce to use with single sign-on to use Sales Cloud and Service Cloud. And I recommend SP initiate the single sign-on because we need to support a deep link in email alerts and also support people bookmarking pages. To do that, we need to enable my domain. And this is a pretty modern company in California. I recommend the leading player in IDP space, Okta, for them, which provide provisioning and deprovisioning for users. And the identity store is Active Directory. And for ETL2, I recommend to share the same tool as ESB. We do not have a huge amount of data. It's large data volume, but MuleSoft can support both API and do that. And some operations will use REST API also when the volume is low. And for ETL to access Salesforce, it uses the OAuth GWT flow, and the traffic is protected by encrypted because we use HTTPS. And all data will be backed to the existing data lake. For integration, I recommend ESB tool. I recommend MuleSoft to be the tool. And this enterprise is time sensitive. I interpret that in 2 ways. First, they want to do things quick. Second, they want their business to run quick. And for that, I recommend an API-led approach supported by MuleSoft to avoid point-to-point connection now or in the future. And I also recommend platform events to keep systems loosely coupled and yes, get the near real-time benefit of platform event integration. That is well supported by MuleSoft because MuleSoft support the Bilks protocol. And then we use MuleSoft to do protocol translation, orchestration, and also we focus on error handling there. And with that, we integrate with their HR system and HR and accounting system and Trader US. And we also integrate with Google Maps and as well as the website. With that, let's take a look at our different community users. They have different needs. We already said that they have different communities. Now, the individual traders, they are going to get a native app. The reason is your brand. You are a fast company. You are in California, 24/7, and you want to attract users and think about the life of the traders. I reckon a native app. That's the only thing that can attract them. A hybrid app, a mobile publisher app is not going to cut it. And then that native app will be shared with the traders that belong to the broker company also. And as for the listed entities and the resellers, they do not have special needs. So each one of them, we can give them a mobile publisher app. The BDM people, the internal employees can all use Salesforce mobile app. Now let's look at our data model. First, the legend. All the relationships are by default lookup and one-to-many. And OWD by default are private for internal as well as external user. And we again follow our users. They follow our customers. They come in as leads, and then the salespeople do lead qualification and convert them into account contact and opportunity. And because contacts may play different roles, we use account contact relationship. And then as a result of opportunity, we sign a contract. And when we work on opportunity, we can generate multiple quotes. And the line items of quote and opportunity related us to product. And a product can be offered by a reseller. And then a PBE at associated product with a price book. And then if brokers buy stuff from a data center, we track that as asset, because later when they open case, it can have a lookup with asset. I should add that there. And then each company has a stock, and I choose to use a separate entity for them to change the descriptions, etc. And then when they need services, they need to first they are pretty rich in their service need. So I recommend to use service contract. We can also use the contract line items, which is a child object of this with master detail relationship. And then we use entitlement and the entitlement process. Entitlement is always master detail with account. And then we create a case associated that with account contact and the entitlement. Case milestones. The reason I put that there is that when we do data backup and data archiving, we need to consider this one. And a case 2 million per year, that's LDV. And then lead has potential to become large data volume. So we would archive them also. And announcement can be LDV, and these line items can be LDV. So for LDV, my strategy is that when we are still using them in Salesforce, then either because a case is still open or it may reopen in a month, for example, then we keep them in Salesforce. But after that, we archive them. Now, as for the line items, quote and quote line items, once the opportunity is closed, we can archive them. As for opportunity, we wanted to do forecasting. So during the forecasting period, we keep them, and then reporting period, we keep them. Over that, we archive them. And lead will be archived once converted. And with the archiving strategy, we will not have skills, and we want to make sure our circles, our list views, and our reports all use indexes. We can check their execution plan on the developer console. All of them we can put the circle statement or their ID in the query. In the query place to get their execution plan. And if they are not using index, then we can open a case with Salesforce to create a custom index for us, or we can optimize those queries or reports by ourselves, make them more selective. And in the case of case, which have a tendency to become to have many fields and also opportunity. And if we have reports for a lot of people using selective fields, I recommend skinny table for them also. And with that, let's look at the overall infrastructure to do data migration, which will come later. So from the source, we migrate the data into source schema in the staging area. Then we migrate into a canonical schema. Then we archive data to data lake, and then we migrate into Salesforce, first using a pro sandbox, then use a partial sandbox, then use a full sandbox, and which is the only place we can do performance testing and load testing. And then finally we go to production. With that, we are ready to let's look at the numbers first. So because the growth is really fast, in 5 years, the number of customers, I believe everything else will increase by 3 times. So we will end up with about a third million account, and the contacts will only have more. And then service requests is about 2 million per year, and invoices will be about 2 million per year. And then with that, let's look at our business process. The brokers, people from brokers, they may wear multiple hats. So we specify their role using account contact relationship, and we can also give them different permission sets based on their need, even different profiles based on their need. The resellers, the customer support agents are trained with different skills, and so we model them as service resources with service resource skills. Sorry, I forgot to label this. This is master detail out of box. service resource SKU is the detailed object of service resource. Now let's look at website. They wanted to be able to log in from website to Salesforce. So I recommend to share the same IDP so that that will be done. And then Treat US, later they specify they do have API. I do not need to make this assumption. And for treating for individuals. Now, individuals will interact us on an experience site, and they can we will enable user registration there as well as Salesforce login, and then we will to support social login, we will create a OS provider for LinkedIn, another one for Google, and then we set Apex registration handler for each OS provider, which when they associate their social account, a third-party account link record will be created under user, and then so if they onboard, if this traders, individual traders onboard in Salesforce, we need to send their account and contact data to Trader US, Trade US, and other systems. So for that, we will use a fair and forget pattern with a platform event created by a trigger on account and another trigger on contact, which create and then middleware will subscribe to the events and then send the data to other systems. Now, once the user log in, we would they would go through an onboarding process. And for the onboarding process, if it is we need to collect more information, I would recommend a login flow. And then we wanted to do address validation on the spot. So therefore, it's a real-time request and response integration. We're going to use our middleware to host an external service for us. And so this is Salesforce calling doing the login flow can use the external service to do address validation. Now in the login flow, we want to confirm with the individual that you are indeed 18 years old. And if the company want to collect evidence, we can ask people to load a photo of their driver's license or any other document. And the individuals can manage their own account. That means we need to use a sharing set to share edit an account. As for contact, it's controlled by parent. And then if these individuals, their account will be person account. The individuals want to be able to see trade they have placed against each entity in the last year. So for this, the trade data is in Trade US. So we're going to use the charting library of Trade US in our LWC, load those libraries and do real-time request and response with the Trade US using Apex Cloud via middleware. The individual must be able to see cases they have created using multiple channels. So all of these channels will create cases. So we allow them to create a case on a side page, and then we use a sharing set to share their cases back to them. And on the website, we cannot assume the number of cases is less than 500 a day because there are 300 supported people. Therefore, I recommend API integration. And then the API integration is the remote calling using REST API. And the lead will use remote calling also using REST API. And then we support Salesforce Chat. We also support Service Cloud Voice. And as for cases from Facebook, I recommend to start with social customer service. Every time an individual places an order, notification need to be sent. So they place order in Trade US. So when after they do that, Trade US will do a remote calling via middleware to Salesforce to create notification to the individual. Wait a second, I have to change this because this is real large data, real large volume of notification. We're going to use middleware to use Twilio API to send out the notification. Okay, if we need to get their preference from Salesforce, middleware can get their preference from Salesforce. But other than that, otherwise, it's Twilio API. The company like to look at the mobile options. I already covered that, and they understand. They want to understand how to secure the connection. When individual use Gmail to create their account, if they use that to create an account, a TPAL third-party account link record is there for us to detect. And with Shield transaction security, we can enforce two-factor authentication for those users. And now let's look at the broker relationship. Now, to become the broker, will also come to us to log an application, which is a lead, and then after lead qualification, we convert that to opportunity contact and account, and then we use opportunity to work with the broker, and eventually we sign a contract. If this approval process beside the Salesforce people, that will be a standard Salesforce approval process. And because they want strict SLA, so I'm recommending service contract and the entitlement. The company want to ensure brokers are kept up to date throughout the application process. For that, we're going to send them emails using at every step of the opportunity using a trigger. Now, why I'm using a trigger instead of after save flow? It's because opportunity account contact, these core objects always get so much logic. To automate, we will need to use trigger to consult the logic. Once the terms are agreed, we create a user for the broker. We can action which calls an invocable Apex method, and which in turn calls a keyable Apex to create the user to avoid mixed DML error. And then once they are onboarded, they can access the experience site. Admin users can manage other users, so they will be dedicated external admin. And but here they cannot see related data to brokerage. So I need a clarification on this. I will make assumption that private OWD for objects is enough for this. If requirement is otherwise, I would like to hear it and provide a solution. But cannot see related data to brokerage. Okay. Admin. Oh, okay. Admin can admin other user, of course. To avoid brokers need to log into the branded portal and treat US. The company want to know what is the option. Now the traders are always on trade US. So therefore, if we use single sign-on, sharing the same IDP, they will get that benefit. As for mobile app, we can use a refresh token for them, and then if they do need to log into us without logging into the US, we can implement the passwordless login using one-time token. The company want to give broker more visibility into their relationship, and like to provide visual view of number of cases per week, etc. So we're going to give them a customer UI with LWC and Apex controller, showing them the information they need in a convenient way for them. In a visual way. And this is the entity requirements. The entity's login application, which will be a lead, and then it will become converted to an opportunity. And we wanted to check their financial viability and ask them to load files to prove that. and that avoid sending files over email. When an application is approved, which means it is converted, which means it is the opportunity is closed, an invoice will be generated in HR and accounting system. So now we need to first of all send the opportunity data to HR system. For that, we use fire and forget with the platform event created by a trigger on opportunity, triggered by opportunity closure, and then the middleware does a callback using remote call-in using REST API to get the opportunity line items and send the data to HR. And then invoice will be available to us as an external object and with lookup to account and opportunity. I forgot to draw the external object over here. So I have an external object invoice here, which has a lookup to account and a lookup to opportunity. Then once deleted, the entity must lodge announcements. So we have a separate object for them. Once they create announcement, the operation team member need to approve that. So we use the approval process. First of all, once they create the announcement, we will change the ownership to operation people user to an operation user. We can put it in the operation user queue. And then we share the announcement back to them using share and set. And then we use standard approval process to approve that. Once approved, we will use the integration to send the announcement to Trade US using a fire and forget pattern with the platform event created by a trigger on the announcement status. To Trade US. Like broker, listed entities can have multiple roles where admin has the same privilege. So these admins will be external dedicated admins. Then company secretary want to see a chart, and we will again use the chart library to do a mashup for these secretaries. Reseller requirements, and the reseller collaborate with BDM, so they are partner users to work on the opportunity. They will be in opportunity team, and for collaboration, I recommend Chatter, and for forecasting, I recommend Salesforce Sales Cloud Forecast, and then quote will be generate the PDF document by SDoc and attached to contract for customer to see. Now, the reason I use SDoc is that I want it to be consistent, although out-of-box quote can generate a document. Reseller requests to have a shared platform that allow them to put quote in collaboration with BDM, and then the resellers like to sell their products also. So some products will be belong to this reseller. And if the resellers do not want to see each other's products, the service, we can create a custom LWC to show only our product, this company's products, as well as that reseller's product. I also consider to use separate price books for different resellers, but really every opportunity need to use our price book in addition. So that's not ideal either. Okay. With the 10% royalty from them, we can build a custom, really nice, sleek custom UI for them. Every time an opportunity is closed and won, we want to send the opportunity to accounting. So the pattern is fair and forget using platform event. The pattern we described before to send this is identical to number 6. As for invoice being available, again, this is reusing integration 6A, 06A. Sales requirements. BDM are complaining that leads are not assigned well. So I assume there will be business logic that will be collected, and we can use Apex to implement the business logic to do lead assignment to them based on business requirement. And a BDM carry different sales quota, so we need to they can set their quota on their for their forecast using using out-of-box feature, and they have different commission schemes. That is offline. I believe that's the HR system, and they want to focus. We want them to focus on their work, not other people's stuff. So we will reduce data sharing, use private OWD for data for them, and also do not share them reports in the dashboard unnecessarily. Management want to ensure the BDM follow a strict process to qualify need. So we will give them lead pass, and give them guidance on the lead, and do the same thing for opportunity also. And at every status change of lead, we can also put validation rules to make sure all the data are collected, etc. And opportunity have the same rigorous process and visual guidance for BDMs. Sales manager set target. There will be that will be sales quota, and then we use sales forecast to look at the sales pipeline. Yeah, the senior management can look at the forecast also. BDM visit the customer frequently and want mobile capability. So to visit will be an event, and they use Salesforce One to access Salesforce. BDM complain they currently don't see all invoices, and we are going to give them since the invoice is an external object, we use LWC interface to show them all the invoices that they have access to. And if customers need to look at their invoices because of lack of record level security, I'm not giving them profile access to invoice object. I'm using LWC with Apex running in system mode to retrieve their invoice only for them. Now let's look at the service requirements. The company has trained supported agent, so we have service resource skill, and they wanted to ensure service request is routed to the most appropriate agent. We're going to use omnichannel skill-based routing, and then chats and case use different bandwidths from these agents. So routing config will specify the weight of case versus chat, and then service team has to adhere to strict SLA, so we use the entitlement process. If an SLA is violated, we can use case escalation, but we can make that a milestone action. So since we already use entitlement process, we make that into a milestone action. The company realized the service request are commonly related to trade date, and they like a widget on the screen to allow the service agent to see a stream of stock. I considered push topic with LWC, but then thinking about then I remember they provide a chart library, so we are going to do a mashup using the chart library. Considered that, but decided for mashup. And my assumption is that the chart library can support that, or can be improved to support that. Other requirements. They found that many of their customers ask the same question, and for the productivity gain, I recommend a chatbot with a knowledge base to answer common questions. Every time a trade is placed, the company get a royalty. I assume that's existing integration between Trade US and accounting, and then the company want to ensure all contract documents are generated in Salesforce and signed electronically, and for that I recommend SDocs and SSign. And that migration requirement. The new system would be the system record for customer and the contact. I already talked about the integration for that, and when we migrate data, we will migrate all of them into Salesforce in this order. So sorry. So internal user first, and then I thought I wrote this somewhere else, but internal user only. Then the non-person accounts, and then contact, then the person accounts, then the external roles, and then external users, and basically reverse lookup relationship, and then case will be migrated into Salesforce also. And because we are the master data MDM for support data, I assume that's case. So if any other system need case, we can send the data to them using find and forget pattern using platform event based on case status. This company want to be fast, so near real time is important. A single source is needed for stocks that can be treated. Well, Salesforce only model stock for description, etc. The real time stock information, that's all in TradeUS. An individual owns an average owns stock, and that's on TradeUS. An entity that is listed on USE has specific information about stock. They can update their stock record, and then we will sync the change to TradeUS using an external service. So that's the fire forget pattern. That's a real-time request and response pattern using external service. Sometimes the company offer discount based on complex data, and that data, some of the customer data and their support activity are in Salesforce. For that, I recommend the integration to be orchestrated by ESB. For Salesforce, that's a remote call-in pattern, and the main operation will be in TradeUS. And we already covered cases 2 million a year, and then the broker put in trade, that will be in TradeUS, and the company manages average 50 sales opportunity per quarter, and so that's low volume, but still we will keep them as long as they need to report on that. We have this sequence here for data migration. Here is the data migration infrastructure. And the trade for the past 12 months need to be available when system goes to live. The trades, they will be in TradeUS, then they are synced to the data lake. And if anything need to be surfaced in Salesforce, we use the chart library and do integration. The company is concerned that go live will force them to stop their operation. No, this is only CRM, so we will make a rollout plan to make sure we do not impact the TradeUS system, and we will. I recommend a gradual rollout to a group of people, selecting the group which has the highest business value, and then align most with the MVP scope. Invoices are generated every month, and so I calculated the data volume here. They are external objects. Let's look at accessibility and visibility. The company want individuals to see their data only. We're going to use sharing sets to share their data with them via their account. Broker operation user should be able to see service request. That's case implicit sharing. And then we can use worker operation. Those are, we need a sharing set to do that for that. And the equipment is controlled by parent, and modeled as asset. Contract is controlled by parent, and we share their records via accounts. And the broker technical staff member need to see all equipment because the asset is controlled by parent. They implicitly get access to account, so they have access. Within the brokerage, one user can wear many accounts. They have different wear many hats. They can have different permission sets. We use account contact relationship. Operation team members should only see and be able to approve announcement related to account in their region. So that's criteria-based sharing of announcements to their role. And resellers should only be able to see sales data. They collaborate with BDM. They will be in the opportunity team. And service agents can only see service requests they own. That's we share to them with service agents. So we assign cases to them. Cases before cases assigned, they are in a queue. If these service agents are queue members, they get access. Support supervisors can see all records that team is working on because they are higher up on the role hierarchy. The company want all internal users to use AD. We covered that. Some company kits contain sensitive data. We use a separate queue for them. We need a pick list field on case to indicate those cases. And so that if we use a criteria-based sharing rule, we can use that field. We will also assign that to a proper agent, which have the handling sensitive data skill. Integration requirement. Active Directory we covered. I recommend Okta, which provide automatic provisioning and deprovisioning. And this is repeated. All data change will be automatically sent to data lake. That will be done using ETL. A lot of information is time sensitive. We covered this in our integration part. For reporting, for this large data volume cross-system reporting on these entities, I recommend Tableau CRM using data from data lake, using ETL operation to send data to Tableau CRM. And then the executives want to see treat royalty kind of information. That's again LDV cross system. So I recommend Tableau CRM. Sales manager want to see their pipeline. That's sales cost forecast. Service agent request the list view to show open the closed cases. That's out of box Salesforce report on case for now. Executives want to get a better understanding of SLA violation. This is large data volume, and also for executives who have Tableau CRM license, so we create a Tableau CRM for them, dashboard for them. Governance and regulatory requirements. Let's look at here. So data should be encrypted at rest using shield encryption, and the company operates in regulated industry. So we use Shield, a field audit trail to record to save all the changes to treat, and also sync them to data lake. We also have Smith in the under the COE to advise us on regulatory issues. The Smith work with the product owner. To ensure the rollout of solutions is successful, the companies want to understand the best approach. The best approach is that we're going to have a steering committee. Under that, we have a steering committee to give us the direction. We have the COE with a small PMO to do manage the RISC matrix and the day-to-day operation. And we have product owner and Smith. We have a team for change management for external as well as internal users. And then we have an architecture board to give us best practice and do the high-level design and review critical designs. We have the release management team to use the CI/CD pipeline to do release management, and we have Salesforce admins. And then we use waterfall. We use a mixed methodology because Salesforce and the mobile are apparently using Agile, and the data and the integration are somewhat waterfall, especially integration. We will specify the APIs upfront, then they can follow a waterfall methodology. And then CI/CD takes special skill to automate, so we have a separate team for that. And then we have the interfacing teams. We have representative under COE also. And we already talked about the rollout strategy. Since the company handles and process PII data, we're going to use Shield, and we also have Smith to advise on us and categorize the data for them. Salesforce fields have this category, descriptions that we can use to support that. And here is the CI/CD pipeline. Let's take a look from dev to CI to SIT to UAT to production, and specify the sandbox types we need to use for them, and the test tools, the tests and the tools we need to use for them. And we collect source in Jira to development, when we are ready, we do peer review and do pull request, get to CI, do auto test and code scan there, and deployment to CI is automated by Jenkins using code from Git. Git and Jira are integrated to track what story is mapped to what metadata. We use source-driven development because that's the foundation for automation, and shift left to detect and fix issues fast to guarantee high quality at a reasonable cost, reduce the cost also. And with Jenkins automation, we also reduce human error. And here is the pipeline. Here is the branch strategy. From feature branches, we merge into development called release branches. They release to production. And risks and mitigation. Brand image, we're going to have native mobile app and have team for that, make plan for that. And for transition, we have teams, and translation, we have teams and schedule also. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you for the opportunity. With this, I'm sure we can have a secure and scalable Salesforce instance for that. Thanks.